Learning about empires, at least for me, is one of the coolest parts about learning about history. It's really interesting seeing how empires rise, have a golden age, and then collapse. There have been thousands of empires across history. We should know of at least a couple. The Ottoman Empire, the British Empire, and the American Empire. But many empires are overshadowed or completely forgotten about by a lot of people. So in this video, I'm going to try my best to cover some that you might not have heard about. If you enjoyed the video, subscribe, leave a like, and leave a comment. And maybe recommend what empires I should cover next, because I really want to do a sequel. Let's get started. Before we begin, I want to address what goes on this list. Most of these empires were quite powerful, had a lot of innovations, or were just really cool, and had a lot of influence in their regions. They were either overshadowed by more powerful empires in the region, or historians just completely forget about them. But if you have great knowledge of history, it'll be like, oh, these empires, everyone knows about them. Most people don't, so that's why I'm here today. So sit back and relax, and don't be mad. Most empires on this list, people don't know about. So, with that out of the way, let's truly begin. First off, let's go with the Kingdom of Kush. Kush was an empire in northern Africa, located in what is modern-day Sudan. It was centered around the Nile River, allowing for great agricultural prosperity. But the proximity to the Egyptians, who also based their society on the Nile, caused tension between the two nations. Though the Kush's presence in northern Africa allowed for great transcontinental trade, which added to their economic growth. Instability towards the end of the Middle Egyptian Kingdom allowed a great opportunity for the Kush Empire to attempt to sweep in and take control. After fighting the Libyans, they were able to successfully take control of Egypt, establishing the 25th dynasty. When the Kush took over Egypt, they adopted many of its culture, but mixed it with their own, similar to how the Romans did with Greece, for example. They were great at pottery and had many architectural advancements. A few leaders in, one of the Kush rulers got really cocky, so they decided to take on the Assyrians, which failed miserably, and they lost Egypt as a result, never to get back. They would fully settle in Sudan, and would continue to economically prosper at least. However, nomadic tribes, mainly the Nubians, would successfully drive the Kush off the map. For their advancements and success, I really don't know why the Kush aren't talked about more. They were Egypt, but smaller and less known, but they even conquered Egypt. Next, we gotta talk about the Khmer Empire. They existed in what is modern-day Cambodia. Geographically, they were in a pretty nice spot, being in between trade routes between China and India. Religions like Buddhism and Hinduism would mainly influence the Khmer. It was founded by Jayavarman II after successfully uniting tribes in Cambodia against foreign invaders. It would lead his people to fight off and conquer neighboring territories such as the Lavo and the Haran Puchai. A few alliances and conquering later, the Khmer began to have internal tensions between the nobility, causing a bit of a decline, but Jayavarman II would reunite the empire. However, neighboring empires, mainly the Champa, would consistently try to invade the Khmer, almost nearly succeeding doing so near the 1200s. They would successfully fend off Champa, but this is where their prosperity ends. Invasions from the Thai people would lead to a rapid decline of the empire. The Mongols would invade a chunk, and other chunks would just break off, effectively ending the empire. The Khmer are really interesting, especially with how they persevered through centuries of internal conflict and foreign invasion. It still thrived for a long time. Things like the Angkor Wat, the largest religious structure in the world, and an impressive canal system that connected many cities, along with temples and hospitals built. And it's such cool advancements and shaped much of Southeastern Asian history, but aren't really that talked about, and they should, which is why they're on this list. Lastly, let's talk about the Sasanian Empire. They were located in the whole Middle East, basically. They would come about after the collapse of the Parthian Empire. They would follow the religion of Zoroastrianism, which was basically a monotheistic religion, but it was difficult to convert the populace, which is not a good sign for the empire already. The empire was big, as you'll see here. They used a great strategy of conquer. This worked for a while, then they ran into the Byzantines. They would live, and then Muslim empires would swoop in, which unfortunately led to the end of the Sasanian Empire. There isn't really much to say about this empire, as it didn't last that long because of their conquering strategy. But it's really interesting how they just started, took over most of the Middle East, and then went away. Along with that, they would basically set up all the Islamic empires with their Middle Eastern territory, which is important but not talked about as much as it should. Alright, that is my list for cool empires that have been forgotten about. If you have more empires that you think I should talk about, leave them down in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you want to learn more about these empires, the links to videos are in the description. Subscribe if you enjoyed the video, leave a like, and I'll hopefully see you in the next one. Adios.